Here we are, Night B in the cup with Slay.
Hey,
Hey, hey, hey.
hey. I'm looking like Steve Jobs today. Savina Jobs.
Oh God, rest in peace. Um, so look at us back. Consistency. Come on.
Do you like what I've done with the place?
I do. For the viewers,
Mm-hmm.
listeners, actually, she's upgraded her space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've got a grand piano. I have a fireplace as well. You know,
Damn.
Cosy lives. We don't
It's
put the heating
also
on.
it's also very light outside, considering it's
Yeah,
evening.
it's called lighting in your house.
Right.
Yeah. Or some may call it a virtual background. Mm-hmm.
I feel a
Mm-hmm.
bit left out. I don't even know how you did that. We didn't even speak about that before.
Yeah, you don't need to
I
know.
want a virtual background too. Um, anyway, so what's been going on with you,
Oh,
girl? Before we get into things, what's been going on with you?
what's been going on with me? Okay, I started a new job. Um, yep, that's about it.
Yeah, cool.
Yep.
I'm.
How deep do you want me to get?
It's one of those like, how you doing? I'm good. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
really, I'm hanging
I'm
on by a thread.
good. Yeah. How am I really melting in a pot of despair? Cool.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, yeah.
that's like an everyday occurrence for me as well. It's like I
Mm.
stand at the top of the stairs and I'm like, meh. Do you know what I mean? Life insurance.
They're gonna be okay.
They'll be
It'll pay
okay.
out.
Yeah. Just a little, overnight stay, maybe in hospital, get a little rest, you know,
Just a
a
little
little,
rest, little
just a
nap.
little payout, you know.
You deserve the rest, girl.
I deserve the rest. I'm like, oh no, no, but not this week.
I'm gonna tell you, it is the 16th day of the year,
Hmm.
and I'm okay.
It's
But
good.
2 weeks prior, I was not okay
Mm.
because some people like to come back from the dead, and it's not Lazarus. Uh huh.
Where's your tea?
Natty B sips tea.
Natty B sips tea.
Oof.
Let's talk about the ones that came back from the dead.
Do we disturbing my peace? Oh my!
Mm.
Wow!
I
Wow!
feel like if there was a theme for 2024, 16 days in, it's
Hmm.
called disturbing my peace.
Oh, ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Because your peace has been disturbed too. I don't want us to hijack this so we can get into it or we can talk about what we got to talk about.
Mm. I'm really sorry if you heard my phone again. I know I forgot to put it on silent. It's on silent
Mm,
now.
yeah, good. D and
Yeah.
D.
So overall, we're doing pretty much the same as we're always doing. Unstable. So on brand. That's what the people come here for. They come here for
Yeah.
the chaos. They come
Mm-hmm.
here for the delusion and the fact that we are unstable, we're up and down. Like it's our brand, let's own it. So
True. True.
yeah. So on that note, today
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about the greatest thing that's ever happened to us. Second
Yep,
to
girl.
second to us.
Yep. Amen.
Amen. And my kids, gotta throw my kids in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
We got kids. We got.
those little two that I birthed. Um, so yeah, the best thing that happened to us, like together,
Mm,
and separately, is therapy. Therapy has been very crucial to our development,
mm-hmm.
to us getting to where we're at now, and us just growing. So for this episode today, we just wanted to talk about some of the things that we have learned from therapy, good things, and I guess just our experience, really. So we have prepared a few points which we haven't shared. So we're gonna either get into it now, and then we'll just see. I'll see what Shay said. She'll see what I've said. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who wants to open the floor,
I'm gonna go
but
first, girl. You talking a lot.
oh, okay. That was very shady.
Okay.
You know what?
So
I quit. I'm fed up. I quit.
she lying, she ain't leaving. She's stuck to the chair with an elastic band. Okay, so Natty B kind of tasked us to jot down 3 things that we've learned from therapy. And yeah, just to echo what you said, it is definitely the best thing that has happened to us, but also happening at the same time. Like we were both having therapy like once a week at the same time, which is
Mhm.
quite interesting, I think. To both kind of digging deep and sharing at the same time, or sometimes just going MIA because what we have just spoken about was really difficult to even like relive, or just you
Mm.
just wanted to digest it as well. Um, so yeah, that was something that was really quite out of the ordinary. I don't think most friendships are going through it at the same time.
Mm.
So
That
that
is
was really,
true.
really interesting. So
Yeah.
my first thing that I learned, which was it is definitely in the top of the list, is boundaries.
Mhm.
Now, Natty B sips tea. So this was important for me because, first of all, I didn't even know what they looked like for me. I didn't know what they were and how I would create them and then stand on them. I had no
Mm.
idea. So, and it's still something that I'm practicing today. It's not something that I've just like, yeah, I've completed it and I know what I'm doing. I don't. I still have to really remind myself. So, boundaries is definitely number one because, yeah, I now know what they are for me and what they look like and how I
Mm.
use them as well, because I now understand that that's to protect me
Mhm.
and to protect my peace and my heart and my mind as well. Like my mentals, just making sure that I'm okay, and how to use them and who to use them on. I think importantly
Yeah.
was who, because you can have these boundaries and you set them, but who is it to protect you from?
Mm.
Um, for me, it was family, some friends, and yeah, like romantic partners fundamentally, and how I exercise them. So if I'm in a situation where whether it's a family event, what am I willing to accept? What is going to be okay for me to be there, or how long will I be there? So it could be I'm only going to stay for 3 hours, or I'm only going to stay for a night. I have to check in with myself of what is going to be good enough and what's going to serve me.
Yeah.
So that is still really hard because there'll be times I'm like texting you being like, I can't do this. It's so
Mm.
hard. Um, but to even know that it exists, what boundaries are now is definitely a plus, but also like how I can utilize it for me has been really beneficial. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. I always find that boundaries are easy for me to set with people that I don't care about. Like people that don't
Yeah.
mean anything to me. I'm just like, yeah, don't chat to me, don't do this, don't do that.
Mm.
But it's like the closer the people are to you, the more
Mm-hmm.
difficult it is to set that
Mm.
boundary because the lines are just blurred so much.
Yeah.
I think the hardest boundary to set is with parents, and
Mm-hmm.
then like maybe siblings, and then close friends. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Mm-hmm.
really tough because you love these people, like
Mm.
they're the closest people to you, and almost putting a boundary in place, you feel like you're pushing them away, or you feel
Yeah.
like you're saying, I don't like you anymore. But it's not that. It's just you saying, I like me more. Didn't Kanye
Yeah.
say that? I love me more than you. Something like that. It was on a
Yeah.
song.
But it's so basic, but so true. It's like finding that inner love to be like, well, I'm choosing myself.
Yeah.
And then some people might look like you're being selfish. That's on them.
Mm.
You think I'm being selfish? That's okay. Because actually this is a boundary. And what I learned as well through boundaries with my therapist, she was saying to me that, I'm the first person in my family to probably create, not even for me, I would say I am, to
Mhm.
create something like this, to say no, or that's not going to work for me. How about this? Instead of being yes, yes, okay, or not saying anything and just going along with it.
Mm.
So
That's the other
that,
thing.
yeah, and I think also when you think of like a like culture that's involved in generations and like that can be really difficult as well to say no to
Yeah.
a first generation immigrant, for example.
Yeah, because then it comes down to, yeah, like you said, culture and the respect,
Mhm.
like, aspect
Mhm.
of it, and, like,
Yeah.
now it's not you standing up for yourself, it's you disrespecting a
Yes.
whole generation of,
Yes.
you know what I mean, that's come before you, and it's like,
Yeah.
"No, I'm just trying to put me first and protect me, like, it's not even about you, mom and dad," do you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. In one of the books that we've been reading or I have read, they say, I mean, this is now going into my like one of my other points, so I'm just going to go into it.
That's fine.
The author talks about family of origin, so it talks about the family that you're born into, for example. But I
Mhm.
found that term really interesting, a family of origin. And the other thing that I've learned through therapy is like, what does chosen family look like, um,
Mm.
and like what that love is, you know. So, for example, you're my chosen family, and there's something really beautiful in a chosen family because you've both chosen each other. You're not born into that. You're not like,
Mm.
okay, well, our DNA is the same. It's like we've chosen each other based on our characteristics, our heart, our mind, our personality, you know, what we give, what we take, how we carry each other. So I think that was really special for me because it made me realize that, okay, my family of origin, or my family that I'm born into, we're not
Mm.
exactly the same, and we don't always see eye to eye. But that doesn't mean that that's it. That's the end. You have
Yeah.
the people in your life that have chosen you just as you've chosen them.
Mm.
Um, and that was really special for me to kind of realize how important like this friendship is, and friendships and other relationships that where people have chosen family are as well.
No, that's interesting because you're right. Like, if you have blood relatives, it doesn't mean that you guys are going to get on or
Yeah,
even have a healthy relationship. And I
even
think half
like
the
each
time,
other.
yeah, or even like each other. And I think half the time we don't really cultivate those relationships because we kind of take it for granted. We're just like, okay, that's my
Mhm.
mom, my dad, that's my sister,
Mhm.
my brother, and we don't put in probably as much effort as we might do with our friends,
Mhm.
because we probably feel like we need to prove something, or make that effort because we don't have that bloodline with our
Yeah.
friends. But I think that I don't think that approach is necessarily right. You know,
Mhm.
if we all did make a bit more effort on both
Mhm.
sides with the
Yeah.
family, then it probably would be easier and a bit healthier.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear it. I'm gonna
Mm.
hand the mic over to you,
Mm.
girl, because I just
I
did
was gonna
2.
say, I mean, you did 2, so you may as well do 3.
Okay,
My
okay,
and the
okay.
thing is, I didn't know what you were gonna say, so, like, mine are not serious at all. So I feel like I'm gonna change up the mood and the tone.
Let's change it up. We're gonna change it because we're gonna be a little bit for everybody. Okay.
Okay, right.
Okay. Do you
I'm
want me
so
to do my
silly.
last one, or do you want to do 2?
How about, okay, I'll do mine, and then we can end on a very sensible, serious note if your last point is serious.
Okay, girl.
Is that
Good
alright?
idea. Yeah. Perfect.
I just laugh at myself. I just wrote down some stuff that came to my head. And a little quote that I came up with is, therapy will leave you woke and broke. And I need that on a t-shirt.
You do, and we're gonna just say we're copywriting that.
We're gonna
So
copyright that. Yeah. Woke
write that
and broke.
down and get a date stamp, because if people want to try and do it, we can say, well, we said it at this day, at
And
this
we'll fight
time.
you. Okay.
Can we fight? I will if I have
We
to.
gonna
That's what
do
I'm saying.
everything to
Yes.
protect our brand, okay?
Tooth and nail, we're gonna fight.
We're gonna fight. Maybe,
But
yeah.
girl, that is
Woke and
facts.
broke, right?
Woke and that's exactly how I feel. Oh my, I can't believe you've never said this to me. Did
I
you?
just literally, it just came to me and I was like, what have I got out of therapy? And I'm like, it's enlightened me. It's made me woke. But god damn, is that expensive?
Mm,
Like,
mm-hmm.
it is an expensive thing to do. And we're not going to downplay it. We're not going to make it seem like,
Yep.
oh, everyone can afford it. No, I
Yep.
understand that not everyone can afford it. And fortunately, like, I was in a position where I was able to afford it.
Mm-hmm.
um but yeah, to get the real benefit of therapy, you can't just be having like one session a month,
Yeah.
or having it inconsistently. You need to be doing at least a minimum of 6 months. If you can afford weekly sessions for 6 months, I
Yeah.
guarantee it will change your life like
Mm-hmm.
it did mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of it, your pocket's going to be a bit light.
Yeah. And to be brutally honest, like we stopped because we ain't got the money no
We ain't
more.
got the money,
So
we ain't got the funds no more.
we are broke, but we are woke.
We are woke and broke still.
Like I would love to go back, but at the moment it's not, I'm not able to. And I miss her. I miss her so much, girl. Come
Same.
back. I feel like I'm in a Ray J music video or Usher. Like, come back, girl. Help me.
I probably one time I bumped into my therapist when I was out,
Oh, yeah.
and for the first time, because we'd only been doing like sessions online, and it was the most awkward thing ever because I just wanted to run up to her and hug her and cry. But me being awkward me, I didn't even look at her. I didn't even wave, didn't even do nothing because I thought she might have just, I don't know, told me off
Yeah.
for talking to her.
How do you yeah, I don't have that issue. I had so just for the listeners, like both Natty B and I had sessions virtually. Um and at the time I was in South London and she was in South London, but then I moved to
Mm,
North. So it was also during lockdowns or some sort of like restrictions that there were. So it was fine to be online. But when
mm,
we were able to do that a bit more, I was living on the other side of London, or I'm living on the side of London. I wasn't going to go and see her. And then I also said to
mm.
her, I don't know how to feel. Like, I wouldn't know how to act seeing you
Right?
IRL.
I wouldn't know how to act. I'd be like, can I hold you?
I was thinking, like, can I hug you? Because I know you know me better than I know myself.
Yeah, literally. Literally. Like, I wish I could actually be friends with her, but I know
Yeah.
it's not gonna happen. It's
Because
not.
I want mates rates.
Yeah, right? I mean, I wanted to invite her to my birthday. Do you remember? I was
I
like,
remember.
do you think
I
if
was
I
like,
just,
no, girl.
drop my address, she might come through?
You'd be like, no,
No, she's not
that's
going to.
no, she's not gonna go. Like, and
Gosh.
if she did, we would be holding a group therapy session.
Yeah.
That's
Everyone
what
would
would
have
have
been
happened.
crying,
Yeah.
honestly.
But that's what I
So,
think we mentioned in our first episode. Sorry to cut you off. Where we said it's so important to like share the things that we've learned, and also in particularly within the Black and Brown community, because financially you don't always have access to it, and the sort of income that you get as we know on isn't always high. The disposable income isn't always high, so
mm,
to have access to therapy, and not only just financially, but then to have it as an option within your household. To
mm.
say to my parents, I'm gonna go to therapy, they can be like, sorry, therapy is Jesus.
Right? He died on the cross for your sins and
Yeah.
everything, so you can be free. So you
So
don't need therapy.
there we go. You are living in the land of milk and honey, and you're like, okay,
Mm.
okay, cool, cool, cool.
The milk might be sour.
Yeah.
A little
The
bit sour.
honey's not even honey, it's like
It's not
wax
even
now.
honey, right? It's not even real. So we really in the ghetto. So a therapist
Yeah.
would do. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. So I think it's important that we share it, because yeah, not everyone has access, like financial means, to get
Mm,
therapy really.
yeah. No, I've
Mm.
definitely learned a lot. And I think the only issue with becoming woke is that it's like, okay, now I'm enlightened. Now I know all the
Yep.
issues I have.
Yep.
What do I do with it?
How do
Now
I
I
use this
know.
information?
Yeah, I know I have an
Mm,
anxious
fuck.
attachment. What the
Mhm.
hell do I do with that now? It's
Yeah.
almost even like it's opening a can of worms sometimes.
It it is, but also makes you like aware of other people's actions, or like how they act, or whether it's platonic or romantic relationships. You're like,
Yep.
that's not gonna do.
No.
No, sir, no, ma'am, no person. You gotta go.
Yep. Yep.
It does help you kind of sift through all the baddies. But yeah, like I have all of this information. What do I do? I'm just a sheriff, maybe. That's what I'm
Yeah.
gonna do.
Now we're just gonna talk about our problems, but using professional terms.
Yeah, the terminology is tip top here.
It is like imposter syndrome.
Stop it.
We love that.
Stonewalling.
Yeah.
I actually wrote that
Yeah.
down because I was shook when my therapist told me about stonewalling. Do you just want to
Yes.
explain quickly what it means? Because I feel like you're more eloquent at it.
Uh, Put me on the spot now.
Uh,
No, stonewalling is, I think it's a form of emotional abuse. I think when
mhm,
people do it, they may not have the intentions of being abusive or manipulative, but
mhm,
it does have damaging effects. And it is
yeah.
basically someone that puts up a stone wall
Mhm,
to not communicate with you. So this may look like them just completely ignoring you.
mhm,
Yeah, just mainly them not communicating with
yeah.
you. You're trying to speak to them and they've just completely shut you out of their world, and you don't know why, you don't have answers to the questions, and you're literally going mad because
Mhm,
you want this person to communicate with you and they're not. There was some research done somewhere where they found that if stonewalling is done to you like on a regular basis, it can actually cause some form of brain damage. It's
there you
that
go.
damaging. So
Mhm.
stonewalling is a serious thing. If you do it, stop,
Stop.
please. Talk about your feelings.
Yeah.
We grown here. I
Come
should hope
on.
everyone
And
listening to this podcast is grown.
you better be grown and sexy
Grown and
because we
sexy
are.
people only. We are. We been grown and
We
sexy
have been. I'm going to stand on that.
from birth.
Stop it.
Burth. Birth.
Birth. My name is Bertha. Okay.
Bertha. We being grown and sexy. No, but it's about just being, yeah, mature, and it comes with
Mhm.
emotional intelligence. So people that tend to stonewall, I would say that they're emotionally immature.
Yeah. And an example of this can look like a parent or a guardian, somebody who, is in care, taking care of you as you're growing up. So they're ignoring you and you're trying to speak to them. It's like not acknowledging your existence.
Yeah,
And then as you grow older, it might be a partner and doing the same thing. So somebody, especially somebody really close to you, doing that gives you love and affection, but then also stops it
yeah,
just abruptly
yeah,
because you might have had a disagreement and yeah, choosing not to speak about their feelings instead. And if you're not able to communicate your feelings, rather just say, I can't speak about this right now. Can you give me some time to figure
exactly.
out what I need to say instead of just ignoring the person because it's so damaging?
It is. It is. And then it all, I mean, if that's done to you as a child, that can create a child that will probably start to learn how to people please.
Mm.
Because if
Mm.
they realize that, oh, if I've said something to mommy or daddy that they don't
Yeah.
like, they're going to ignore me. So let me
Mhm.
say good things to mommy and daddy. Let me behave myself because then they're going to talk to me. And then this
Yep.
creates a toxic kind of
Mhm.
culture within your household. And you grow up to people please,
Yep.
basically. I know there's
Look
some
at
people
that.
listening like, "Oh my god, that's
Yep.
me."
They go say, "Oh my god, they are woke. I'm broke."
Yeah.
Yes. That's so woke.
So woke and broke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
our money has gone down really well. Let's just say that.
It
It
has.
was
We could have
worth
spent it
every
on worse
penny.
things. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
100%.
Okay,
So,
what's your number
that's
2,
my
girl?
first point. You want me to do my number 2?
Mhm.
I think we kind of touched on it really. Yeah, I just put that the issue at hand is never the issue at hand. Like, when you're feeling
Yeah.
um I don't know, stressed about something, or you're
Mhm.
upset because I don't know, your friend's tone on the phone was slightly different and now you're just like
Mhm.
feeling a bit funny. Like it's never the situation that's in front of
Yeah.
you. It's always related to flipping childhood
You're
and when
like,
your daddy
"Okay."
left you, you
Yeah.
know?
It's like, "Okay, let's talk to your inner child." You're like, "No, the so and so's tone was just off." "Mm-mm,
Yeah,
no, it's
no.
not. No,
No,
it's not."
what happened when you were 3 now? Remember?
Yes.
And it's like, God, God, do we have to go there again?
I thought we finished that chapter.
Like with my therapist, like I would always talk to her about my dating and be like, "Oh, I got this guy, I really like him,
Mm,
blah blah blah." But like he's not texting me as much. And she's like, "What does that tell you? Who does he represent in your life? It's your
mm.
dad." And I'm like, "God damn, not my dad popping up again and again."
Yeah. You're like, "Why? I don't wanna talk about him. He's not
Yeah.
here."
I want to talk about this new boo that I have. And she's like,
Right?
"No, It's what he represents, and he represents your
Mm.
father figure and your abandonment issues. It's like, whoa,
And
relax.
you're like, wow, I thought we were just going to talk about this date I was going to go on. Cool.
Right? Why can't you just be happy for me, therapist?
Yeah. Yes, I'm going to order the starter and a main. Like, leave me alone. Don't talk about
Yeah.
my dad. It's
God.
true, though. It always comes back to some sort of family dynamic. However, your setup is mum, dad, two mums, two dads, like a grandparent, how whatever your family dynamic is, something always relates back to that, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what. And it's so terrifying because you don't want to really look back.
Mm.
And I think a lot of the time, I know for me, there's a lot of stuff that I blocked out because I immigrated over like 20 years ago. Yeah, 2021, nearly 21 years ago. And at the top of it, I thought, oh, my childhood was really good. Like I had really fun memories of playing with my cousins, and I've got loads of cousins, both on my mum and my dad's side. So I have these fun memories of playing with my cousins and stuff, and just like having a really nice time and having friends and being really like quite not quite outdoorsy but sporty, and would do ballet and like long distance running, swimming, da 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 da,
Mm.
all of these things. So I kind of just thought everything was fine. And my life moving here was harder because I did have such a difficult time integrating into quote unquote Western society. But actually, there's so many other things, like whether, and within the African community, it's so acceptable to beat your kids.
Mm. Mm.
And I didn't know that that was just not okay, and how that
Mm.
would make you feel as a child and then into your adulthood as well. It was really, yeah, the situation at hand is never the situation at hand.
It's not. It's not.
Mhm. They lie.
So
They that's how they get us. They hook us in.
I know, right? They're just like, tell me about your life. And you're like, yeah, do this, do that. And it's like, okay, so how was it at home when you were 4? How did you feel when your daddy left?
And you're
Like,
like,
okay.
what? I thought it was just 4 and I loved lavender. Now here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the stuff that I've got into in my therapy session literally blew my mind, really.
Mhm.
It really did. And I once you learn something, or once you've learned a new way to look at things, you can't
Mm,
go back.
you
You
cannot.
can't unlearn it.
Nope.
So when you see
Nope.
these behaviors in yourself cropping up again in these patterns, you're like,
Yeah. You
here
catch
we go
yourself.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
And it's
really do.
frustrating. It's even more frustrating. Like, I get the saying, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
Because when I was ignorant, girl, it was
Ignorant.
blissful.
She was ignorant and she was blissful.
I was blissfully ignorant. 'Cause I just didn't know that the issues that I had, and I was just going
Mm,
through life and being my toxic
yeah.
self.
You were
Now I'm
hella
probably still a little
toxic.
bit toxic, but just aware.
You're like, yeah, that's look,
That's
mission
okay, right?
accomplished. I think that's fine. Okay,
Yeah.
so one more each. You want me to go first?
Yeah,
Well,
go for it.
okay. So my last thing, I mean, I wrote a few things down, but we've covered quite a lot of it. Just anyway, because we're the same person. Is journaling. Now,
Mm.
I definitely didn't think that journaling was for me because I thought it was like things that you see like rich white women do, like eat, pray, love kind of thing. And I thought, it was like, today, dear diary, today I sat outside and looked through the window. That
Yeah.
was that was my um idea of it, and it didn't work for me. And when my therapist was like, you should like write these things down, and I was just like, no, I don't really feel comfortable doing that.
Mm.
And like you said, the situation at hand is never the situation at hand. I was just
Nope.
like, why is that? And it kind of like we went into it. Damn, she got
I
me
hate those
again.
questions. Why do you think that is? I don't know. Let's not do this.
It's like, I just want to get through this hour without crying. This would be so nice. But it just
Impossible.
is, yeah, it is impossible. But it helped me see what like journaling could be, not, and that it doesn't just look like that in that one format. There's different ways that you can journal. So I don't really, I can't really write maybe, oh, when he left me, it made me feel sad. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't really write that, but I then found a way of writing, which is in a form of some kind of poetry.
Mm.
And it's just helped me. Yeah, it's almost like, if I got any Harry Potter fans out there, it's like taking the wand to your head, taking the memory out, taking that feeling out, and putting it into a pensive. So putting it into something, and that's the like the thing that I always think of. It's like when I'm writing something, and it has to be very. I have to really it's an act. Like I think about it. It's very much a verb. I'm thinking about it. I'm conscious. I'm doing it. I don't just sit there go, oh, maybe let me do this. I'll be like, you've got to
Mm.
do this.
Mm,
You've
mm.
got to do this. You've got to get this out and put pen to paper, and can be really insightful.
How
Actually,
often do you do it?
I would say once a week. Sometimes I don't write it in my notebook. I write it in my phone. I think
Okay.
just because we have access to our phone more. Like if I'm
Mm.
on the tube or if I'm walking or something, and then I can jot it down. And I have the thought, oh, I'll write this down in my notebook that I've got for it, but I don't. But actually,
Yeah.
it's quite nice sometimes. I'm looking at some of them now. I'm like, oh, it's quite nice. And then recently, I went through my notebook when I looked at like the 1st of January of last year. What place was I in, girl?
Oh
What place was
God.
I in?
The trenches
Damn.
of life.
Even December 22, like
Mm.
it was. It was like no, that's a bad rep. I'm not gonna say that because there's a lot of war at the moment, but I was in the
Mm.
trenches, let's just say that. And
Mm.
I could not see light at all, at all. So looking at it and reading it, now
Mm.
I felt like read it and I felt the pain that I'd like felt when I was reading. I was like, damn girl, you were not
Yeah.
okay. You were not okay. So the like reflecting has been quite nice actually. So I am
Mm.
really grateful for my therapist being patient with me on, journaling, but in a way that was going to be good for me because it's quite cathartic.
Mm.
Mm.
It's something I've tried to do, but if I'm honest, I'm not very consistent with it. When I was journaling, I really liked writing in a book, like getting a
Mm,
nice pen
yeah.
and sitting down and writing. But
Mm,
just I don't know, just life, like, you don't always get those moments where you can
mm,
have that peaceful moment just to write down
yeah,
your thoughts.
yeah,
But so many people have said that journaling, 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 like, it's so
yeah,
good.
yeah.
And I know
I
some people that do
know.
do it as well.
'Cause I'm like,
Um
do I look like Julia Roberts? No, like, I'm not going to sit there and write it down, but I
Yeah.
think it's our lifestyles as well, like, I get public transport, so I'm able to sit down and maybe write something or in my phone.
Mm,
That it would be those moments for you, let's
mm,
say, if you were traveling out on the tube, that you would be able to then maybe just take a moment to write something down,
yeah.
but
One thing I did do once was voice notes. So, like, if I
mm,
was walking, I just, like, talked to myself and recorded it.
nice.
And I did a couple of those couple of years ago, and I listened to them, like, earlier on last year, and like you, I was like, "Damn, girl, you've gone through it."
Going through it.
I was really going through it, and I think at the time, because this is when I was married, I wasn't talking to anyone about my issues. I didn't even tell
Mm,
you about a lot of the stuff
yeah,
that I was going through.
mhm,
So to hear it back, I was like, this was a desperate woman in a dark place.
mhm.
And then it also made me feel proud because I'm like, I made it out of that.
Yeah, you
I was
did.
that low in a dark place and I've made it out. So, and I probably wouldn't have realized how much I made it out if I didn't have that voice note to
To
listen back to.
remind you.
Yeah. We do
Yeah,
forget. We forget, like,
we
once we move on
do.
and get better.
You know what I enjoy is when, we remind each other of, like,
Mhm.
"This is who you are, and this is what you've done, and this is what you've achieved." That is quite nice, and there's days when you're like, "I'm fighting for my life," and we can encourage each other. It's like this nice gentle reminder of, like, "Thanks, I needed that."
Yeah, yeah. Because some life just be overwhelming sometimes,
Mm.
and you get caught up in it. But yeah,
Yeah.
journaling, good one. Was that your last one then?
Yeah,
Journaling.
yeah. So over
Yeah.
to you.
Me, I think maybe mine is I had two, which I'm going to talk about. One thing I really like changed my life was the inner child
Mm.
process. Like, I don't know if people listening have heard about like your inner child, but my therapist once went through this whole kind of like a meditation, almost guided meditation, for
Mhm.
me to find
Mm.
my inner child.
Yes, I remember.
And that really unlocked a lot for me. That really began my therapy journey once
Mhm.
I identified who my inner child was. And I think you probably can do this kind of practice at home, but it's just, sit down, you have to be quite calm, and you just have to think about kind of like what your inner child would look like, what age they would be, how they
Mm.
would act, and like really visualize them. Um and I won't like share too much about what my inner child looks like, but once I identified that, I was able to link it to something that, like, traumatic things that were
Mm.
happening at the time in my
Mhm.
life. And I just thought how interesting it was that that was the image of myself that I had.
Yeah.
Um, and my therapist said about it's important to connect with our inner child, because what happens is we leave that inner child as we grow up and go through life,
Mm.
um, either from like a traumatic moment, we kind of stop in time with that inner child, and that child doesn't grow up, but we continue growing. And then that's when people feel that disconnect with themselves,
Mm. Yeah.
because they haven't brought their child along
Mhm.
with them.
Mm.
And the whole point of like a healing journey is to go back and get that little girl, that little boy, and
Mm.
bring them and teach them all the things that they should have been taught, that
Mm.
maybe their parents didn't teach them. Life, they didn't have the life experience, but you now have the life experience because you've gone through life.
Yeah.
You've got to hold their hand and walk them through. I got goosebumps talking about it because
I am I cannot stop I feel like this is church. Like
yeah,
this
right.
is so, so important, and this is so good. Thanks for
It's
sharing, because
deep.
that was beautiful.
Yeah, that was
Mm.
really life changing. And I really hope if anyone goes through therapy, they have that experience and
Mhm.
are able to connect with their inner child. And some people, I know there's going to be some skeptics out there and be like, oh, you're just like thinking of a little child in your head. But
Right?
if you really do it and believe it, you can, like, when you close your eyes and I think about my inner child, I literally feel
Mm.
connected back to myself.
Mm.
And
That is
anytime I feel
amazing.
like I'm feeling disconnected, I just go back. And it's helped me massively,
Yeah.
massively.
Worth every single penny. I would do it again and again
Yeah,
and again.
yep. Then get broker and broker.
Uh-huh. Brocade.
And well kissed and well kissed.
That
Um,
was so good. That was amazing. Like, and yeah, thank you for sharing that, because it has been a real, real journey, and it doesn't stop. Like, the journey to
mm-mm,
self-love is one that continues and continues. Like, there's not just a dead end now, and like, you gotta go,
mm-mm.
you gotta keep going, follow that yellow brick road. So I'm so, so proud of you. Well done,
Yeah,
girl.
I'm proud of you too. I'm proud of us.
I'm proud of
Look at
us.
us.
Look at
We're
us.
here. We're
Yeah.
here. Like, I think we need to shout about it all the time.
Mm.
We're doing the podcast right now. We've been
Um,
talking about it for years and we're doing it
um,
now, you
we
know.
we just like these two little girls in your bedroom, and now we're here.
Right? And it's
Wild.
nice. And I use
Mm.
these as like, this was a therapy session for me.
Mm.
Like, I didn't have the best day, and just sitting there chatting has made me feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Um yeah.
Well, anytime, girl. Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime. The other things that I wrote was like,
Oh, I thought you did
um
your third one.
I know I
Apologies.
did, but
Oh,
I wrote 5. So, like, we talked
oh,
about stonewalling, and then
go
also
for it.
attachment types, which is what you
Mhm.
said already, and then also triggers, like identifying your
Mm.
triggers. Um, and sometimes they're not as obvious. Like, you might know, oh, seeing something like that is gonna trigger me, but sometimes you don't know it's gonna happen, and then
Mm,
in the moment, then something happens, and it's finding like somewhere that you can either. For me, I think I had a recent episode, Christmas just gone, so December 23.
mhm,
And I called you and I was just like, I'm not okay. And I was abroad
mm,
and I was like, I'm really struggling. It's quite difficult. And so you don't always know that you're going to go somewhere and something is going to hit you, but also trying to, once you are triggered and you're feeling like you might feel anxious, you might feel panicked, worried, concerned, however you might be feeling, it's just knowing maybe what is going to be the thing that's going to pull you out. If
mm,
it's
mm.
stepping outside and going for a walk, or going to the loo and just taking a moment for yourself, whatever it might be,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, like acknowledging it and trying to work through it. And sometimes it doesn't always work. I mean, sometimes there might be tears, sometimes there might be laughter, but it's, yeah, that was really, it was something that when I was talking through it with
Mm,
my therapist, was just like, okay, these things are triggers. I just thought I got anxious.
mm,
And it was just really good to understand it, because
mhm.
I really went as an empty vessel. Like I had no idea what to expect. So
Yeah.
everything that I'd learned was all new to me, and was able to take it on board. So yeah, that was my other little thing.
Yeah, that jogged my memory because I did have another one as well. It was about emotional regulation. And I think that kind of
Mm,
goes on the back of yours about triggers. Because once you're triggered, the next step is to basically emotionally regulate yourself. And
yeah.
that is the hard part. And you can
Mhm.
do that through breath work, by meditation, or
Mm.
like, walking
Mhm.
or something. But I think breathing generally does help with regulating
Yeah.
your emotions. Yeah, so that's another point that I just thought of as you were talking. But I'm sure there's a load of others
There
as
is,
well.
yeah. But I think these were really good ones. It was like a good mix of lessons learned,
Yeah,
and also just, yeah, what we were able to share, like not just with each other, but yeah, with everyone else listening. Because I think it was, yeah, a good mixed bag.
yeah, yeah,
So we
definitely.
broke, but we know how to journal.
Yeah.
We understand our boundaries. We know who
Mhm,
our inner child be.
mhm.
We don't ignore people because we don't like stonewalling. We
No,
understand our acceptance types. We know what our triggers are. We know who our chosen family are.
and we know how to emotionally regulate ourselves.
Yes. Warren G, regulate. Come on.
We do. Oh, we're so great. And positive affirmations, add that on there. How you
Amen.
speak to yourself is so important. And I think sometimes
Mm,
people mistake it for like being cocky. But no, I am great. And you should say
yeah.
you're great too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because I say
Yeah.
I'm great, I'm the best, I'm
Mhm.
beautiful, doesn't take away anything from you.
I
And
hear
we
it.
really need to speak that life into ourselves and
Yeah.
be kind to ourselves.
My favorite thing to say when partners leave me is, I'm amazing.
Yeah. They
You
couldn't
know I'm
handle it.
amazing, right?
Yeah. They couldn't handle the amazingness.
Yeah.
That's
And
what it
I say
is.
it through like tears and snow. I'm like, I'm amazing.
I'm just so good.
I'm like the most amazing person you'll ever meet in your life.
Yeah. Oh, man. No,
So
it's
funny.
tough.
I can laugh about it now.
Listen, the tears have turned into laughter, we thank God.
Oh, wow. I never thought it would happen, but here we are. Here we are. Yes.
Here we are.
Okay, girl.
Yeah.
I think we can wrap it up.
Yeah, we can wrap it up.
Mm,
Absolutely. We will be back again next week with our usual happenings. We find enough feet, so
yeah.
you get a weekly podcast from us
Yeah, we
when
don't
you
know what's
when you
going to
see
be,
it. We don't know what it's
but
gonna be.
don't forget to get the book.
Yes, yes. Do you want to do a plug for the book?
Yes, I would like to. So the book that we are reading, when I say we, me, when I say reading, I mean read. Yeah, yeah. You
A lot
you
of
are you
shade.
told me to go for it, so I'm gonna go for it. Um, we are reading The Will to Change by Bell Hooks, and it is about men, masculinity, and love. So it's a real guide through all of those things. And honestly, as we said before, it feels like she's talking like to me in my soul.
Mhm.
And it covers a lot of what we've even just said today, and like, being people pleaser, or what does love look like, and what does it look like from, the male perspective. It's great. It's great. So get the book.
I can hear some of the feminists saying, "Why do we care what the men think? Don't give them any more time."
Like they got the jobs, they got the money,
Yeah, and now
they
now
even
we
be
care what
standing
they
up.
think. So yeah,
Yeah.
we're offering a balanced perspective on this
Yeah.
podcast. So
Yeah.
men deserve love, women deserve love, everyone
And that
deserves love.
is that is so that is it. Men deserve love. And it's like the
Mhm,
way that everyone has a male person in their life,
mhm,
and the way that they're taught love. And this is what goes into the book as well. The way that people who identify as male and people who identify as female, they are taught different ways to love, completely
mm,
different ways to love. And it goes
mm.
into that, and it is really exposing.
Well,
So
I can see we're
that
gonna get into the book because the part of the book I have read, I can't comment on those things, but we
mhm.
will save it for our book review.
Yes, yes, yes,
But just
yes,
grab the book and join us when we do that review.
yes,
So,
yes.
yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here. I'm gonna say our goodbyes. We love you very much. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, and thanks for the feedback, everyone who's listened. Really appreciate it.
Yes, please keep the feedback coming. Give us 5 stars on Spotify and wherever else you can give us 5 stars.
Yeah,
Nothing
Apple
less.
Music,
Apple
Amazon
Music.
Music.
We're on Amazon Music. We're on Google.
Hey, hey, hey. We on
We're
Google.
everywhere.
We're everywhere. We're everywhere. Thank
Yeah.
y'all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.